will fly away.
Now in a moment, I'm gonna pull on this string, which will move the train car forward. And I want you to think what will happen to each of the Lego guys. Ready? Here we go. Catch that? Now because this test was in water, you intuitively sort of had a sense the top guy would fall off and the bottom guy would be fine, right? Well, yeah, because the top guy would have to travel through all that still water and that would push back on him. Whereas inside the train car, he's enclosed, so everything in that car, including the water, is moving along with the train. So why would I show you this Lego guy standing on a model train in water? Because it's fundamentally no different than me standing on a real train in air. Because just like water, air is also a fluid, it's just not as dense as water. You can sort of see how it moves like a fluid here in this demonstration showing hot air coming from a blow dryer. So when a train moves through the air, it's moving through a fluid. To visualize this, let's replace me with a pair of helium balloons. Once again, what do you think will happen here? Well, of course, the balloon inside is totally upright because just like in water, the air around that balloon is traveling with the train. Whereas on top, the balloon is being pushed back because it has to fight its way through all this stationary air. Just like the Lego guy on top being pushed back by all the water around the train in the tank. It's sort of like when you stick your hand out the car window and feel all that resistance from the wind. So going back to the jump, if you were able to visualize all the air molecules like this, you'd see how once we start moving inside the train when I jump, I get no pushback from all my air molecule neighbors because they're pretty chill and we're all traveling together. But on top of the train, it's a whole different story. I'm continuously bonking into a mad rush of trillions of air molecules every second as I whiz by. So if I jump now, it makes total sense why they would push me back and I would land in a whole different spot. For number 6, here's an interesting thought experiment. Let's say you just bought a small 2-seater airplane and you know the plane has to be traveling at 60 miles per hour on a still day to take off.
Zero new information from
an idea. Why not just create a much shorter runway using a plane-sized treadmill that can ramp up to 60 miles per hour, sending it into the air from your own backyard? But would that actually work? Well, let's run the experiment together with a small-scale model. Now the way
it shouldn't work. It shouldn't work. Because he has to move against an air. Is it if it will be a huge fan? Yes, it will work, but big treadmill, no.
The way a plane typically takes off is it needs to reach a certain speed, which of course then requires a certain length of runway. So let's see what it is for this model airplane. Looks like it's 10 miles an hour after traveling 15 feet. Now here we've got our own version of our backyard treadmill runway that will ramp up to our 10 miles per hour takeoff speed. So let's see what happens. Make your prediction now if you haven't already. As we start the treadmill, we're gonna spin the propeller more and more to keep it in the same spot so it stays in the camera frame. Okay, so we're at takeoff speed and sadly, we're not taking off. And at this point, we were
of course, because air is not moving.
Suspicious maybe we measured something wrong. So we cranked it up way more, and still nothing. So does that mean our backyard treadmill idea is a bust? Well, let's talk about what needs to happen for a plane to take off. Because planes need air flowing around their wings to create lift. Once again, it's sort of like sticking your hand out the car window. You don't feel any lift stopped at a red light, but the faster you go and the more air that flows by your hand, the more lift you feel. Which means no matter how fast our treadmill goes, there's still no air moving over the wings. We're stopped at a red light. And I think part of the confusion many people have with this experiment is they're comparing it to the vehicle they know best, which is a car. Because for a car, the ground is what gives you forward motion, but for a plane, it's the propeller that gives you forward motion. Here's a thought experiment to demonstrate that. Imagine you have a car and a plane on the most slippery ice ever invented. Because the car's engine uses the ground to get forward motion through the tires, no matter how fast you spin those tires, the car will not move an inch. The plane, however, is totally unaffected by the ice because the plane's wheels aren't